Well, hello and welcome to the Tanya Augusta Alchemy community. I'm Tanya Augusta, your alchemy and transformation coach. Welcome to part 2 of the Simplify and Heal Blue Heron 9 Tenets of Wellness. And if you haven't already, of course, go back and listen to part 1. They don't necessarily need to go in order. It is more of a circular thing. And also some of them kind of are building, because as I started out in the last video, I talked about intentions. And so yeah, my intention for this video is to really, again, help to simplify your healing process and to give you some new ideas, some new avenues, and to bring in more ease, more harmony, more abundance in all of these different ways. And so I'm really excited to talk to you today about the hero's journey. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the near future from me. But I really love this idea of thinking of our life as being on the hero's journey. And so as each of us are the hero in our journey, we come to a place in our life where we have a task that comes about, where usually it's a challenge, is often something that we weren't expecting. It can be a very painful surprise. It can be one of these health challenges like many of you have had that see me. It could be a relationship falling apart. And of course, throughout our life, we go through many heroes' journeys. So there are different ones, but this is a really beautiful way of looking at our life. And if you're going through a hard time, I really love to look at it through this lens, and it's really helping me. And so I hope that this is just a new way to view whatever challenge you're facing with your health or with your finances, whatever it may be, with your business, because I'm also helping people in those areas as well. To uplift you and know that you are the hero on your journey. You're setting off on this adventure, and along the way, you have dragons to slay. And obviously, these dragons are very scary and big. These are our biggest fears. These are the things, those obstacles that we have to, and we want to, and we will overcome. So all of the things I'm talking about in these part 1 and part 2 videos are the tools that are going to help you to slay those dragons and to be successful on your journey. And that is my wish for you. So the 5th tenet of the 9 tenets of wellness is sacred healing and self-love practices. So on our journey, we are on this adventure, and we are going to come across a mentor. Probably, of course, multiple mentors for us nowadays. I think it's a little bit of an outdated thing to say that there's just one, practitioner that we're going to work with. I personally often have a team of healers that I like to work with. And so you can look at these sacred healing practices as these different modalities that you would go to with a practitioner that can guide you in these different healing therapies. And so that could be anything from seeing somebody who does sacred medicines like combo, or even mushrooms, ayahuasca, some of these sacred medicines, or, it could be somebody who's leading you on a vision quest where you're not using any medicine. It could be seeing a practitioner who uses hypnosis, or uses breath work, or uses the EFT tapping. There's so many possibilities, of course. So these mentors are the people that are really going to help bring us some tools into our life that are going to help us progress. And they're going to help us progress through this also part of that initial part of the journey where we may feel this distinct feeling of like, actually, I don't think I can do this. And I definitely can't do this alone. And we're not supposed to, right? So we definitely always on our journey are going to need our allies and this mentor or mentors. So our allies are going to be these friends, these people that we meet along our magical journey. We're going to, find these people that are, again, these are our friends that, are just loving support. And they're also, again, maybe there's practitioners or just acquaintances that, we meet and we have these synchronicities and they inspire us, or they bring us a message. Maybe we go to church and we hear just a beautiful message from somebody, and maybe it's not necessarily our pastor, maybe it's just the person we sit next to that day, right? So there's always messages from universe and from God speaking to us everywhere, and our job is to just continue to stay in alignment and stay in that flow. And that's my wish for you. And, all of these different self-love practices are going to be ways to help self-regulate, to self-soothe. And we need to have self-love practices as well as these sacred healing techniques. So the self-love practices, a couple things I want to share with you are just some of those things that sometimes we forget about, and that I forget about too sometimes. But it could be anything from journaling and writing about the things, because sometimes just actually getting down on paper, what's in our head, can help us to just let go of whatever that is. And it's, again, not something you need to save. You can rip it up, burn it up. And also napping could be something really important. Sometimes we go through spells where we need to take extra time to just rest, or to just really cry, really, have a good cry every day and allow that. Maybe we have a song that helps instigate those tears to flow. Maybe it is for you taking a bath, or again, any of these mindfulness techniques that I talked about in the last video, as well as bringing in humor. That can be such an important thing that we forget about. We need to all laugh, and especially when we're going through a hard time, it can be really nice to send, maybe videos back and forth between you and some friends or family members to, share a good laugh, because life can be painful, and sometimes we have these very painful times, and that is, part of this journey. Again, we're going to be in the thick of it, out there slaying the dragons for part of the time. It's not always the fun and exciting part of the adventure. We go in and up through that. Like, I like to think of the life as a roller coaster analogy, because we go up and, for a while things are going really well. And then we know that, well, eventually it's going to come crashing down, and it doesn't mean that it has to go really low or that you have to be miserable. But, just we know sometimes that is just the cycle of life. Energy moves, just like I talk about in feng shui and with the Chinese astrology. It's, everything is energy. And so, we're going to go through times in life where we have more of something and then we have less of something. There's days that are higher energy and days that are lower energy. There's, the energy moves and cycles around our house each month, and that shifts constantly. So we're always in these different energetic cycles. And just be very kind to yourself. And then I would also say, along this line, with this whole self-love practices or the sacred healing techniques, would be to look at the archetypal systems. And these could be anything from any of the astrological systems and the elements. If there's a particular modality that calls to you, I use a lot of the 5 element system, because I do the Chinese astrology and the Chinese medicine, of course. So in this system, I can look at the different organ types, and I can look at the imbalances and the personality types and the imbalances, and then, talk about, like, okay, we need to feed the fire with the wood. And so how do we do that? And, so on and so forth. And so there's just all these little techniques. And of course, I can get into that deeper in a different video, but you can learn more about the archetypal systems to understand more about yourself. And I encourage you to use those different ones out there. And there's a lot of them. So, and that moves me to the 6th tenet for wellness. And this is connection. And I already kind of mentioned this already, but we all, of course, we need connection. We need the support. We need to have our allies along our path. There are people that we're supposed to meet, and we aren't ever supposed to just have our high school friends and stay with them the rest of our lives. Now, that's great if you get to continue those friendships throughout life, or the family of origin, if you get along with them really well and you continue those relationships and building and growing those. That's wonderful. And some of us have to create our own families. But either way, we're needing to always make new connections, because I really believe that to stay in the flow of life, it is about connections and it's about presence, and we're just constantly being guided. So we're going to be guided through our inspiration, through these synchronicities. And so we can just feel guided to, oh, I need to go to this event, right? And I need to go out in the community and do this thing. And before we know it, Maybe we research something about one thing and then we meet somebody at a wood carving class and they become our best friend. And if we hadn't followed that impulse, then we would have never met them there. So you never know. But just stay open to all possibilities, of course, and just know that we need a witness as well as a support. We need a witness to our tears and our grief and to our joys as well. And I would also say along these lines, as far as connections go, that speaking of kind of almost back to archetypal systems, I love the 5 love languages. And I think it's a very useful tool in relationships in general. And so I want to draw or hit upon a couple of the primary love languages. And the first is the physical touch, because if you're a physical touch person, then you really need to have people that you can hug, people that, you can, maybe, yeah, again, give a back rub to, or maybe you can seek out massage, getting a massage regularly, or you can find something where there is some kind of that physical touch contact that is very loving. And, that could be a partner dance class or partner yoga class, for example. Perhaps also if you are a words of affirmation person, then you need to really ask and speak up for like, hey, I need compliments. I need, to hear like, thank you for doing this, or I really think you look nice today, or whatever it is that makes you feel good about you. Sometimes we need to ask those people in our life for those things because, of course, not everybody has the same love languages as us. And that can really, of course, help us in feeling loved and enhance our relationships. So yeah, just definitely, those are a couple that are really important to talk about, but you can study more on that. And then the 7th tenet of wellness is play and creativity. And I don't want you to get too hung up on these words because, of course, some of us, feel that we aren't very playful or very creative. And the truth is that we all can be. And of course, sometimes we have to learn how to do that. I certainly have felt that way in my life. Some of us can be too serious, or we've had traumas, or we just didn't feel like we got to play enough for certain parts of our life. And it was just all business and no fun, maybe. But anyway, really play is using that childlike wonder and that curiosity, and it's following our passions, right? And we take, in creativity, we take that curiosity and that passion and we just forget about ourselves. So we just lose ourselves in whatever that is. So it could be dancing when nobody's around. I mean, these aren't things that we need to show to the world. There can be so many ways that we can be creative. We can dress up just for ourselves. We can, the way that we go about fixing a meal can be creative, and it doesn't mean that it would be something that we would post a picture of that we want anybody to see, right, on social media or whatever. It doesn't matter about getting kudos or accolades or anything. It's about what is a creative act for us, and that's different for each person. Maybe it's the way that you water the plants is creative, and you hadn't even thought about it until somebody watches you and is like, wow, I would have never thought about doing it like that. That's fun and cool. You never know. So there's so many ways that, again, we are creative and we are all creators here. We're here to live our best life, to create the life that we wish to live. And so whether or not you think you're creative, you are, because you are a creator, and that is just a part of being human. And so I love the book by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's called Big Magic. And if you have a lot of creativity hangups, I would definitely recommend that read. But in it, she talks about how, of course, at one point we really elevated artists, and we did a disservice by doing that because, they're just people too. And it's just the same with anybody who is really good at something. We've, elevated them onto this superhuman level. And then all of us that feel like, oh, we're just more ordinary. Well, again, you're on this hero's journey. You are extraordinary. Each one of us is extraordinary, and there is nothing ordinary about any of us because we're all so unique, right? And so we want to go out on this adventure and just know that we have these magical gifts. We have this mystery to unravel and to follow. And there are just so many ways that we can be creative and that we are geniuses. So each of us really, it's not that one person is really a genius at this or that. We all have geniuses. We really do. That is something that has been proven, and it is something that can get stifled as a child, of course, but we can get back to our geniuses. We can even find out that some of our shadow stuff can be really geniuses, because it's coping mechanisms. So much to unravel and unpack there, but I hope that this helps you, gives you some new ideas and new ways of looking at this exciting part of the journey of going out, and you're meeting these allies, and in between the fighting of these different dragons, your demons, your fears, and your sadness, you get to have fun, and you get to play and create too. So it's not just this arduous task all the time. It definitely can feel that way at times, right? And then the eighth tenet is on knowing thyself, but it is about it's actually be authentic and a lifelong learner. So I'm really huge on authenticity. We each are here to really live a radically authentic life, and you deserve that, and you have a gift, you have a mission that you are here to bring to the world, and you are not like anybody else. So again, to stay in the flow of life, we want to continue to follow these inspirations, these mysteries, as I've been saying, and that's all about being that lifelong learner. And so even if you didn't think that was one of your top values per se, we all need to and can value that learning process. And it's not about necessarily going to school. Not all of us need to go to school to learn something, right? Most of us don't these days. We listen to a book on Audible, we listen to a podcast, we go and we have these experiences at retreats, or wherever we decide to adventure to. So there's a lot of ways to learn things. And again, we're just following this inspiration, we're following this synchronicity, we are following this distinct mystery that each of us have. So just definitely think about everything that you're learning as medicine, and what would you like to ingest as this medicine? What would be the most beautiful thing that can come of it for you? And this brings me to the ninth tenet, and this is to give your labor of love. And again, I believe we all have this distinct mystery and mission here. Some of us, of course, have really felt that from childhood or maybe teenhood. I certainly have. And if our life is indeed a quest, then we are here for a purpose, and we have so many things to give, and it doesn't have to always be about work. Sometimes it's just that conversation that we give to a friend, to a family member. Sometimes it's volunteer work. Sometimes it's this other community cause. Sometimes it's, just that we are a cheerleader to all the people in our life. Whatever it is, however you show up in being your most authentic self is your mission, and it doesn't have to be this specific thing that has to be overwhelming, and it should never feel heavy and like something you have to do or should do. It really does need to feel easeful. And again, like if you're going to put your time into something that's volunteer work, hopefully it's something that you have fun at, because it is your time, and it's the time that you choose to give, to express and to love and to share with other people. But yeah, there's so many ways to do that. So just again, finding that radical authenticity, and finding what it is for you that excites you the most, and then sharing more of that with people. All right, well, I would love to hear what you liked about this video. Please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and I'd love it if you shared with some people, because again, we're all on these heroes' journeys, and it is not easy to slay our dragons. It is not easy on this path of being a human. Sometimes it is very painful, and I definitely have a lot of compassion for you if you are going through that time in the journey where you are slaying lots of dragons. I feel you, I see you, I hear you. And, we just need to support one another. So yeah, if this can benefit anybody, thank you for sharing it. And also let me know what you liked. What is it that really stood out to you? What has helped you in this, or in part one as well? And then also, a lot of you are my sensitives and healers. I think all of you that follow me really are. So I have the guide, a meditation that's going to help you to work on creating a protection shield around yourself and grounding you. There's a whole chakra meditation in it. And basically, this is going to help you to learn how to, in the near future, go out and create your own protection shield each day to not take on other people's energies. And as a healer, this was something that I had to learn how to do, and I didn't necessarily have the best tools initially, and I didn't always do it consistently. This video is a little bit longer than what you would need to do on your own time and in your own practice, but it will just teach you how to do it, and then you can go out and you can create that protection grid within like a minute or less. So, definitely don't feel like this has to be this 20-minute process that you start your day with every day. So yeah, check out that video below, and then thank you again for being here and for being you and for being your most authentic self. And have a beautiful week.